Hey everyone, welcome back to Revision with Miss Sweet. Today we're diving into a crucial topic, literacy devices used in the poem My Last Duchess. Find a quiet, well-lit area with minimal distractions, keep your study materials organised and easily accessible, grab a drink and let's go! Browning uses a variety of literary devices to create his complex poem, My Last Duchess. But what is a literary device? It's a tool used by writers to enhance and create deeper meaning within their work. In this video, we're going to explore 9 of them used within the poem. It is great to recognise each, but please don't revise them all. Just pick the devices which you think are best for you to analyse. See the description below for the timestamps. The poem consists of 56 lines, organised into a single stanza. This choice of form allows Browning to maintain the conversational tone and uninterrupted flow of the Duke's speech, enabling readers to gain insight into the Duke's character, motives and attitudes through his own words. Additionally, the lack of stanza breaks emphasises the Duke's control and dominance over the conversation, as he dictates the narrative without interruption from his guest. In other words, it is a one-sided conversation by a man who likes to listen to his own voice. Single verse, no stanza. What is a single verse and why has it been used? The poem has been written as one large block of text, rather than broken into smaller stanzas. To a reader, the large block of text looks terrifying to read and analyse. This was cleverly done by Browning to demonstrate the Duke's dominance, and the subtle red flags about the Duke's behaviour are hidden within the text. Browning gives a sense of the poem being the Duke's stream of consciousness, his unfiltered thoughts and feeling which are revealed in the monologue. The excessive monologue suggests he lacks control over himself by revealing these subtle red flags, even though he tries to exert control over others. Other poems within the Power and Conflict anthology which use a single verse include Exposure, Ozymandias and Storm on the Island. Our second device is Iambic pentameter. What is this device? Iambic pentameter is the name of a device where syllables within a poem are stressed and unstressed. It is used to mimic conversation. Each line contains 5 pairs of stressed and unstressed to create a seamless verbal flow. For example, that's my last Duchess painted on the wall. Iambic pentameter is also found in the poem Storm on the Island. Rhyming couplets. What are rhyming couplets? Well, the clue is in the name. A rhyming couplet is a pair of lines which rhyme. They tend to have the same meter or rhythm. An example includes, that's my last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call... The fact the Duke rhymes within his monologue demonstrates his desire for control. The fact he speaks using carefully considered and refined speech suggests he has rehearsed or had this conversation before. Rhyming couplets are also used within the poem London. Our fourth device is enjambment. Let's refresh what is enjambment. This is a device used in poetry where a sentence continues beyond the end of the line or verse. It's used to control the rhythm of a poem by inserting pauses in the form of line breaks. The use of a line break in the place of punctuation can help to create a pause in the rhythm. It has been used to create ambiguity or contradiction. Enjambment can give the reader mixed messages and confuse what the speaker is actually conveying. Browning uses enjambed lines throughout the poem. The Duke spills ideas from one line to another, preventing his listener from joining the conversation. This also suggests the Duke has a lack of control, which is a contrast against the use of refined speech such as the rhyming couplets. One of the most striking examples of enjambment occurs towards the end of the poem. Because of the 7 consecutive enjambed lines, it is nearly impossible to tell where one line ends and another begins when the passage is read out loud. The words topple over the boundaries of the line, as though the Duke is so horrified by the Duchess's actions and by the idea of confronting her that he can no longer make clear, linear sentences. It might seem as though the Duke truly does lack the skill in speech to reprimand her. However, the Duke had mentioned earlier that he has spoken to others about his wife's behavior before, so this conversation with the emissary is not the first on the subject, and his love of controlling conversations with props, like the painting, chair, and curtains, further suggests that he plans out all details no matter how small. The enjambment that seems to suggest the Duke losing control over the conversation is arguably evidence that even his loss of control is all an act, and that he has scripted even his supposedly unscripted moments. Essentially then, Browning uses enjambment to show the Duke's obsession with controlling how others view him and to show that the Duke is fundamentally untrustworthy. Another example where enjambment is used is Remains. Our 5th literary device to explore is Parenthesis. Parenthesis is used to add extra information through the use of brackets, dashes, or commas. Browning uses dashes throughout the poem to demonstrate the Duke getting sidetracked within his own monologue. Parenthesis is also used through the poem Tissue. Browning uses metaphors throughout the poem. Metaphors are a phrase to imply a resemblance, not a literal or actual one. Browning uses the metaphor of the painting itself as an objectification of women. It is clear the Duke hated his wife when she was alive, but he loves the painting of her. Unlike a human being, the painting is something he can control. He has placed a curtain in front of the canvas so that now he gets to decide whom the painting smiles upon, and he has placed a chair in front of it so he can control the movements of the people who look at her. The painting, then, is essentially the objectified version of his former wife, a relic that aggrandizes the Duke while reminding him of his dominance over others. Neptune. The seahorse, a symbol of rarity and control, could be a metaphor for how the Duke perceived his ability to tame and control the Duchess and those he perceives weaker than himself through likening himself to the god. The use of metaphors links to the poem Ozymandias. Caesura. A caesura is a pause that occurs within a line of poetry, usually marked by some form of punctuation such as a period, comma, ellipsis, or dash. Browning uses the device to show the Duke interrupting himself. The overuse of punctuations breaks up the line and makes the Duke tiring to listen to. This does not seem to bother the Duke, another example of his own self-obsession. When he does imply his last Duchess's fate, he then returns to his smooth rhythm and polite facade. The poem Exposure also uses Caesura. What is personification? Personification is where a human quality is attributed to a thing or idea. It has been used throughout My Last Duchess to describe the painting and the statue of Neptune to enhance the vividness of the narration. The portrait is given the human quality of lifelikeliness, reinforcing the Duke's obsession with the representation of his deceased wife. Neptune, the sea god, is personified as if he is engaged in the act of taming a seahorse. This metaphorical representation suggests a sense of control and power, reflecting the Duke's desire for dominance in his relationships with others. Another example of personification within the anthology is Storm on the Island. What is sibilance? Alliteration of the S sound or phoneme to make a S. Sibilance is used to enhance its tone and contribute to the overall atmosphere. Notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. The S phoneme creates a soft hissing quality, contributing to a sense of sinister and subtle manipulation. In this context, the speaker is showing off a portrait of his deceased wife, the Duchess, and describing how he was displeased with her behavior. Sibilance sounds emphasize the speaker's controlled anger and hint at an undercurrent of suppressed fury. Sibilance has a snake-like quality, and in this poem, it reinforces the sense of the speaker's subtle, venomous nature. The Duchess, in contrast, is portrayed as a vivacious and warm individual, making the sibilance sounds even more striking when used in the context of discussing her. Browning adds a layer of discomfort and tension to the poem, inviting readers to delve deeper into the complex psychology of the speaker and the disturbing dynamics of his relationships. The soft, hissing sounds create an unsettling atmosphere that enhances the dramatic impact of the monologue. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more helpful tips and tricks to ace your GCSE revision.